Hello there and welcome back to Memory Gamma. Today I shall be finishing one of my video chains, the Heroes of the Federation, and we will be moving 70,000 light years from the Federation to the Delta Quadrant and looking at the U.S.S Voyager. So, I'm not going to do a big introduction. The Voyager is obviously the main ship of the series Voyager. If you don't know it, haven't seen it, want to remind yourself, feel free, go and stop the video, go and watch some Voyager. There are good episodes, contentious episodes, up and down moments. But what we'll do is we will go through, as always, I will bring up the ship, we will have a look. Because it's Voyager and it's locked in, I'm going to do two ships at the same time with this, because I'm going to use the Delta Flyer at the same time. Sorry, 2 seconds, just readjust the camera ever so slightly. There we go. So I'm going to be building Voyager and the Delta Flyer to be flown at the same time. So it's going to be one list of people going across two ships. Since Voyager has a very limited stock of crew members to draw upon, there is a, and the Delta Flyer is important enough that it definitely needs to have its own little build. So, without further more ado, Voyager. Now, there are lots of Voyagers. So, there are 4 different versions of Voyager. So, we're going to go through them. Now, the top one is the Borg assimilated Voyager. So, this is Voyager during Scorpion, or this is Voyager, during sort of Scorpion time, when the Borg technology is integrated into the ship. So it's got the increased damage potential of a Borg ship. It's also the only Borg ship that natively gets battle stations. There is a generic Intrepid Borg Federation which loses battle stations and gains regenerate instead. So I don't particularly want to do this one, mostly because it's more of a Borg ship and I'm not going to sort of go there with that. We have the next Voyager. This is the original version of it, but this is the new version of it. Same shape, same ability, only it's updated in the text. So, in the declare target step, place an aux power token beside your ship, and you may attack a target with this ship's primary weapon outside of your primary firing arc at range 1 to 2. What it boils down to is when you're shooting, you can take an aux power token to fire your primary 360 range 1 to 2. So it's a variation of the Enterprise D ability, which gives you a permanent range 1 to 2 360 at -1 dice. You keep the dice here, but you get an aux power token. No problem. The next one, we have this Voyager. Action. Increase the ship's agility value by 1 this game round and repair 1 hull or shield. If there are no friendly ships at range 1 to 2, this is a free action. So, this is really, really nice, but if you're doing a lone wolf build, because fundamentally, if you're the only friendly ship you've got, then that's a free action every round. And every round, +1 agility and a point of repair. Every single turn. There's no downside to that. The final one is Federation Mirror Universe, which is the Year of Hell from Series 4. Now, Year of Hell, it has options for, you can make any number of upgrades cheaper, but take damage at the start of the game. And of course, you'll want to build the ship up with bonus slots and build it out, because you're going to save a lot of points, take a lot of damage. So you can start like Voyager did at the start of the final battle of Year of Hell, where its hull's damaged and no shields, against Anorax and Kiana Prime. Kiana Prime will be a separate video. But that's, going off topic there. So I think we'll stick with the best, the original. Now, captains. There are several different people who are captain of Voyager. We have, obviously, Captain Janeway. There is only 3 versions of Janeway, and one of them is a Borg version, so 2 versions, realistically. Then there is Chakotay, Tuvok, Harry. So, there's a few options, but obviously all of them that aren't Janeway have got crew versions as well. So, let's look at Janeway. So the first Janeway down here is every time an opposing effect would discard, steal, or pay time tokens or disabled tokens on your ship, then you get to target the ship that's used the ability. You can perform a free attack with your primary weapon against that ship, if possible. If on U.S.S Voyager, it's in any direction. So basically, enemy ship comes along and messes with one of your upgrades, one of your crew upgrades, I should say. And if Janeway is on Voyager, then you get to make a 360 retaliation shot. It's nice. However, she doesn't save the upgrade, so you still lose the upgrade. You just get to make a retaliation shot. And because it's an out of phase attack, it's obviously, you know, if they're affecting you, you're skill 9, you're not going to have any tokens, any conversions, anything like that unless you've built it in passively. So it's just throwing some dice at them. It's an okay ability. I'm not a massive fan. What I do like is the other Janeway. Whenever your ship performs an evade, scan, or battle stations, you can place a second of that type of token next to your ship and take an Orc's power token. So, allows you to go action, evade, take 2 evade tokens for an Orc's power token. Now, yes, you're going, well, it's Orc's power tokens. There's lots of them. This isn't the NX. However, there is no red maneuvers on our dial. The dial's not actually amazing, you know. It's got no 1 straight forward, no 4 turns, no 4 banks, sorry. You know, I might have, you know, I might have traded a few things around here and there, but that's beside the point. So, that's that Janeway. The other alternatives are Chakotay. Chakotay has 2 versions. The original version is skill 5 with no talent and 3 points. Instead of doing a normal action, you can disable Chakotay to do 2 different crew actions this round. Now that's not bad by any means. There's so many Federation crew actions. Disabling him to be able to do 2 of them in the same round is nice. The modern Chakotay is skill 7 and adds a crew slot to the upgrade bar. Very nice. And when attacking, if you have a scan token beside this ship, 1 hit crit cannot be cancelled. So if you've got a scan token when firing with Chakotay, you are doing damage. As long as you score at least 1 damage, that damage goes through. So they cannot cancel it. No defense dice cancellation, no token, no cancel 2 damage, nothing. They're taking that 1 point of damage. So he's a very good combination for weapons that say if this attack hits, do something extra. Because he's guaranteed to make the attack hit. So he's definitely good. He does, however, also have a crew upgrade side, which is a first officer. So if the captain's ever discarded, this guy becomes the new captain. We have Tuvok. 2 versions again. The original version adds a tech slot. It makes it 1 point cheaper as well. So fundamentally you're paying 2 points for a 5 skill captain with no talent. Not amazing, but useful for an upgrade slot. The modern one, he's a strange one. So when defending, you can either spend a scan and a shield. Now spending, it means discarding. So you can spend a shield and a scan token, or disable 2 active shields and cancel 1 damage. Now that doesn't sound like amazing on the face of it. However, as I've just said with the other Chakotay, where it says, you know, if you need to do damage, you're guaranteed to hit. There are weapons which say, if this attack damages the enemy ship, do something extra. Tuvok can do that and go, I will spend my scan token and a permanent shield token, so it's gone. I have destroyed a shield, but I've cancelled that damage, which means the attack did not damage my ship. I damaged my ship with an ability. Like same as Will Decker discarding a shield to give yourself an extra crit when he's firing. So he can be useful if you've got shield repair, especially because you can use him to disable or discard your own shields. to cancel damage. It's definitely a more niche upgrade, but there is a few Tom Paris's as well. The top one and the bottom one are both specialised for small ships. Both of them actually are shuttlecraft. Now, shuttlecraft rules have changed. I will be doing a separate rules video on shuttlecraft and auxiliary craft. The other one can only go on a ship of hull 3 or less, so you can imagine where we're going to put him in a minute. And actually, to be fair, let's do that now. So the Delta Flyer. There are 4 versions of the Delta Flyer. 2 of the original, 2 of the Mark II. So the original one, however, has been replaced. So there's only actually 3. There's the original, and then there's 2 versions of the Mark II. So the original Delta Flyer simply allows you to fire your primary weapon out of your rear firing arc at -1 dice. So it gives you 90 forward, 90 rear, passively. Now that's a really nice ability. It is -1 dice, but it is a 3-weapon. It is a 3-dice ship, so you can type 10 upgraded and type 8 that to make that. It could be a 6 dice, 5 dice. That's nice. That's no bad thing. The versions of the 2 are the original one, which is you may place an auxiliary power token next to your ship to perform a battle stations action. Now you may notice battle stations isn't on the action bar. So that there is take an aux power token, perform battle stations action. Now, because of the way that's worded, you place the aux power token and then it allows you to perform the battle stations action. If you were to put that Janeway in charge of the Delta Flyer, you'd be able to take 2 aux power tokens and take double battle stations. Not sure that's worth it, but that's definitely a thing you could do. And then the final one is the one that is very popular, which has a multi-part ability. So when the ship performs a target lock or an evade action, it gets 2 sensor echo as a free action even if it's not cloaked, and then once it's done the sensor echo, get a battle stations token. So that one's amazing. Plus also it gets a bonus text lock compared to the original Delta Flyer, which only gets, at the same points cost, the Delta Flyer 2 gets double tech, double crew weapon compared to single tech, double crew weapon. But firing primary out of your rear is quite nice. So it swings and roundabouts. We'll go with the Delta Flyer Mark II, and let's look at the captain. So Tom Paris is automatically here. When you reveal your dial, you can disregard your chosen maneuver and either do a 1 evasive maneuver. So basically it's like doing a 2 straight and a 1 sensor echo at the same time, or a 5 straight as a red. And then if you're equipped with Delta Flyer, you get an evade token as well. Sorted. Sold. He's very, very good. Now, of course, there are other versions of Paris. There is a Paris here which gets a talent slot, and when a ship is assigned, when you assign him to a ship of hull value 2 or less, red maneuvers are all white maneuvers. Now, the Delta Flyer doesn't have any red maneuvers, but there are things that can make you perform red maneuvers. You could take hull damage that makes all your turn maneuvers red. You could be hit by a erosion tractor beam, which makes all your white maneuvers count as red. At which point then he would then treat that as a white maneuver instead. So there are ways that he's still useful, but not so much in terms of everything. So, Tom Paris. Now, admirals. I'm not going to do an admiral in the Voyager build. There's space for it, but we're not going to do one because A, they're locked in the Delta Quadrant and there's no Federation admirals that are actually present on the ship. We do see Theodorich Patterson in a flashback episode as Seven's running around doing temporal anomaly stuff, and he is on the ship, but it's during dry dock, not during the Delta Quadrant. And the only other admiral that might be applicable would be Admiral Paris, Tom's dad. However, he's not in the game, so we're not going to do an admiral. However, we have an ambassador. Ambassador Neelix. Now, I went through all the ambassadors in my ambassador video. If you haven't watched that, please do. It goes into all the details of all the rules and how you use each card. For the basic thing is, for a very quick recap, at the start of the game, the ship with the ambassador on it picks an enemy ship, and they can either say yes or no. If they say yes, there is an effect which will affect both ships throughout the game. If they say no, there is a bonus that will only affect Neelix's ship. And later on, if they've said yes, and later on that ship kills Neelix by destroying this ship, then you automatically trigger the no rule. So in this case, for the rest of the game, if they accept, if you move within range 1 of them, or they move within range 1 of you, you get the ship that moved gets a battle stations or an evade token. So if you move up next to them and land within range 1, you get a free battle stations or evade. However, if they move within range 1 of you, at the end of their movement, they're within range 1 of you, they get a free battle stations or evade. If they deny and say, no, we don't want that, then in the end phase, you get to keep a battle stations evade or scan token each round that carries over to the next phase, to the next round. So he's really cool, no problem with that. So, and also because he's very much Delta Quadrant and he's Neelix, so of course we're going to bring him. So let's go through and look at some crew. So let's look at Chakotay. There's only one crew member for Chakotay. There's only one crew version of Chakotay. He adds a crew slot back to the upgrade bar. Nice. And as an action, you can put 3 time tokens on him and pick a ship at range 1 to 2. And you put 2 time tokens on their captain. Now that's 3 of yours for only 2 of his. So he's going to refresh before Chakotay refreshes. But it does turn off that person's captain for a couple of turns. And it's only one of your crew upgrades. So that is definitely something where we could do it. That is definitely a useful action to have. Now the question is, do we want him on Voyager or on the Delta Flyer? This is the point. So, I'll put him in Delta Flyer for now, just so we've got him. We can move him around afterwards. So, who's next off Chakotay? Tuvok. There are several versions of Tuvok. We have original Tuvok. This is from the Excelsior. So he disables himself for a scan token, and he's a lower deck. And he's from the episode. Flashbacks with Hikaru Sulu. We have this Tuvok, which is a sort of double action. As an action, you disable him, do either a target lock or a battle station as a free action, and then do a Federation crew action as a free action. So he does 2 things at once, which is, a very, very nice. I mean, he does disable himself, but he brings himself back. Then there's Tuvok here. This version here disables himself to roll 1 dice extra when firing a secondary weapon. That was the original one. It's not amazing. There are times where it might be worth it, but not in this one. And then we have Borg Tuvok, who only matters if you've bought drone tokens on your captain, so we're not going to worry about that. So let's put Tuvok on the Delta Flyer, and then you could do action Tuvok, get that target lock, and then Chakotay. You do both of those actions together, and then you get to trigger the sensor echo and a second battle stations token and a battle stations token. So that's definitely a nice little combo. Now, who's next? Oh, let's go for 7 of 9, Tertiary Adjunct of Unimatrix 01. Now, 7 has 3 versions, and all of them are really good. This is one of those occasions where it is really going to be 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. There is one that maybe is a bit better than the others, but all of them are good. So, there's a 5.1. Disable 7 of 9 to place an adaptation token on any tech upgrade on an enemy ship within range 1 to 2. Now, adaptation token basically means that adaptation token is on that tech upgrade. While that token is on their tech upgrade, you count as having a copy of that tech upgrade, and you can use it as if it was equipped to your ship. If doing its ability requires it to be disabled or discarded, you remove the adaptation token once you've completed the ability. But you could reach across and borrow someone's refractive shielding, for example. And because it doesn't require disabling or discarding, you've got refractive shielding now. Well, hey. Or someone's monotanium armor plating, whatever. And you just get to borrow the tech upgrade. You can only have 1 tech upgrade at any one time. So it does, obviously you have to use it and then cycle through it or find something amazing and keep forever. But it's a really nice way of getting uses out of other people's cards. The second 7 of 9, start of activation phase, you can disable this card to perform a battle stations action as a free action. Now, that is very nice. That is very, very, very nice. Because since it's start of activation phase, you would do her action, disable her, do a battle stations as a free action, on Voyager, for example, you could trigger Janeway, since you have performed a battle station's action, take 2 of them for an Orcs power token. Then it's your turn to move, because that was at the start of the activation phase. You've done a green maneuver, clear the Orcs power, and then go action evade and take double evade. So with that 7, you can get double evade or double scan and double battle stations. 4 tokens in one, 4 tokens in one turn is not to be sniffed at. The final 7 of 9, she adds either a tech or a Borg nanotech upgrade slots to the upgrade bar. And as an action, she performs scan as a free action. There is more, but provided on the right ship. In addition, if she's equipped to a Intrepid class, you get to place either a second scan or an evade. In addition, if she's equipped to a Borg ship, place a battle stations token. So on any ship, she's just an free action scan, which is a bit but there are some ships that don't get scan action natively, and she does make you perform the scan action as a free action rather than placing a scan token, so that might be. If she's on a Federation Intrepid class, then she gets to do double scan or scan evade. If she's on a Borg ship, she also gets a battle stations token. If you're on a Borg Intrepid, you get to do all of them. So you put her on the Borg Voyager and you get to go scan evade battle stations for a single action. Amazing. However, she is nice, but in what we're doing here is she's action for double scan or scan evade. We can already get that with Janeway, and I quite like using that 7. Disable her for a free battle stations at the start of the activation phase. Double her up with Catherine Janeway, to get it beforehand, and then you can do your movement afterwards, and you've still got your normal action. I do quite like that. Or the adaptation token. Adaptation token is also nice, and she would work quite well with Tuvok, because you could do something and then still get 7 of 9. Again, there's lots of different combinations you can do here. Let's just put her on there. I'm going to leave the adaptation token one on, because I quite like that one. Let's go to... Well, we can't use Tom Paris. Let's go to Harry Kim. So there's 4 versions of Harry Kim. The original one is a disable to repair a shield. Okay, but not amazing. Second one is from the original Delta Flyer. Disable him to have 2 evade tokens. You can't roll any defense dice this round, and you cannot perform an evade action this round even as a free action. So basically he sets you to 2 automatic evades, and that's it. No dice, no more evade tokens. You can be given evade tokens, but you may not perform the evade action. So that's really hoping that their attack's not going to do very much. Then we've got the top one here. Every time you place a scan token beside this ship, remove a disabled token from a Federation crew or tech upgrade. Amazing. And the last one is, in the end phase, you can spend a scan token to remove an Orcs power token, and if it's a Fed prototype, repair a hull. This isn't a Fed prototype, neither one of them. So, in that case, if we bring that Harry, we could then bring that Tuvok. So you'd be able to go action him, action 7, disable both of them. Then whenever you get a scan token, you get to the next turn, then you can go action scan and repair both of them. Obviously, if you want to find some way of getting bonus scan tokens from somewhere, we can totally do that. So that's definitely a cool thing. Also, it's tech upgrades, and some of the tech upgrades are quite nice. They disable to do things. So who else have we got? We have Kess. Kess is now in the game. So in the activation phase, you put 3 time tokens on her and target any ship in play in the whole area. And then look at that ship's maneuver dial. She then gets to trigger an ability based upon the faction of the target ship. Now that's any ship, so she can target her own friendly ships. Okay, if it's a Kazon ship, she gets a battle stations token. Nice. If it's a 472 ship, she gets to execute a 1 straight or bank maneuver. Nice. If it's a Mirror Universe ship, she gets an evade token. Very nice. All of them are brilliant abilities. It is 3 time tokens, but it's a very good ability. And said if you brought your own thing, so if we were using Year of Hell Voyager, for example, she could put it on the Delta Flyer. She could choose U.S.S Voyager as her target ship. Look at its manoeuvre. Oh, you don't really care about that. What you're doing is getting the Delta Flyer a free evade token. Or if the enemy has brought Kazon or Bio, more likely to have brought bioships than Kazon or Mirror. But if they've bought one of them, you can search them, look at their manoeuvre, and then get a token or an extra move out of it. Very nice. Who else is there? So that's the main frontline crew with one exception. However, for him, we'll need to go to the question marks. Because the Doctor. So he's got an action, remove all disable tokens from all crew upgrades. Or we've got this Doctor. It counts as a crew or a tech. And whenever a Federation crew upgrade is discarded by an opposing effect, puts him underneath the Doctor. And as an action, you can disable the Doctor to re-equip a discarded crew upgrade and then put 2 time tokens on it. So as your crew get killed by opposing effects, the Doctor puts them into cold storage and he can bring them back slowly. That is nice. Now, I will say there is another version of the Doctor, which I really should have mentioned earlier. He is a captain as well. The captain of him gets to put a pair of captains underneath him. And that's basically the emergency command hologram. That is something we could totally do. But obviously you'd be looking at the Federation captains from Voyager which haven't already been used. There isn't an awful lot of them. You know, he'd have to probably pick the Middly Tuvok and the Middly Chakotay, which means you can't use their crew versions because they're equipped to his ship. So that's why I didn't do the emergency command hologram. He is amazingly cool though. He's a 6-point captain with 6-point captain, but he gets to put 2 captains with a combined cost of 6 underneath him, and then he gets all the abilities and bonuses of both of the captains. But they have to be Federation captains. Okay, so the Doctor could be nice. He's an action just to re-enable everybody, but this is lots of actions. The point is that all of these are actions, which is why we want Harry to be able to re-equip people. So in that case, if I move Kess off, put 7. If we move Chakotay up there with 7 of 9, then do we want that 7? Do we want the scanning 7? But then Chakotay doesn't disable. This is the thing, you need disabled crew upgrades, and there isn't a lot of disabled crew in terms of Voyager. Quite a lot of them are time tokeny ones. For example, B'Elanna Torres. Now, she's either a disable and she disable you and a shield to cancel the damage. She can add an additional tech and weapon upgrade. You can discard her to do an action after you've crashed. The Borg one gives you bonus slots, or we have an end phase, disable her to remove a time token from every tech upgrade on your ship. Now that's nice. And once per game, you can discard a tech upgrade and repair hull and shields up to half the printed value, rounding up. So if it's a 5-point upgrade, you get to do 3 points of repair from a 5-point upgrade. So she's definitely nice. She's definitely cool. Again, she's only useful on Voyager. There's no point to put on Delta Flyer because she's only got 2 hull points. But you could use her for the +1 weapon and tech slots. At which point then she's literally just fodder for discard because she doesn't do anything else once that's happened. But originally that's why she was on Voyager, because Voyager had 2 weapons and 2 techs. The weapon and the tech, special to Voyager, were the hugely powerful episode weapons, and then the rest of them were just generic. So there's that. We could do that. We could put... Okay, this is the more complicated one, trying to do 2 ships at the same time and trying to make it actually worthwhile. Let's have a look. Let's go with... Let's go with... Let's put Tuvok on the Delta Flyer. But then he'll need another crew upgrade to go with him. So in that case, no. Right. Let's redo all of this. See, this is the thing. This is where, because I'm doing this live, as it were, and the flow of ideas are flowing, I'm constantly having new ideas, and we have to try and find a combination that works for both of these. So let's go for, okay, so Chakotay. He has a crew slot. We'll put him on Voyager. He's an action. But of course then we've got this action, so we need to find a way to get one of these actions going. So let's go with 7 of 9. That gets your battle stations action, then disables her. Then let's go for Harry Kim, that re-enables whenever you do a scan action. And then let's go to lower decks, because there are some lower deck Voyager crew. Remember them from the episode Good Shepherd. So that gives us option for Mortimer Harron. Spend a scan token beside your ship and target another ship at range 1 to 2, and you can take a token from their ship. Telfa allows you to speed up someone else's time tokens. And Tal Celeste, scan action as a free action. There we go. There it is. So we'd go disable 7/9 before we move to do a battle stations action. Then we do our movement. We put 3 time tokens on Tal Celeste, perform scan as a free action, or do Chakotay first, pardon me, to do his action. Then we perform the scan action as a free action with Tal Celeste. We double the scan token with Chakotay, and that enables you to re-enable both 7 of 9 and the tech upgrade, which we're going to put on the ship as well. So who have we got left? We have got Kess left to do, we've got Tuvok left to do, we've got B'Elanna left to do. So we need an action for one of them. We can put Kess so we can use Tuvok. Unless you don't want to use Tuvok. You don't have to use Tuvok at all. So we could do, or if we did do Tuvok, we could just do disable for a scan token, which we could do instead of William Telfer, actually, because he's a planning phase, another scan token, and it's just more scan tokens for us to re-enable stuff. Because every time a scan token's placed, you get to re-enable them, which is just a better way of doing it. So then this one, we've got Harry, 7, Chakotay, Tal, and Tuvok. We've got Tom, and that we can have the Doctor. We could have Mortimer Harron. Let's actually, if we have Mortimer Harron, we spend a scan token. We have to do a scan action, but we could do that if we get a scan token from somewhere. Or failing that, we've got Torres, and we just do that to add bonus slots. Let's just do that for now. I'm liking this where it's going. Okay, let's move on to the tech. So there's a few special tech for Voyager and that sort of thing. Bioneural circuitry. After the ship executes a maneuver, you can disable the card to perform an action on your action bar as a free action. Or, in the perform action step, you can put 3 time tokens on it, and you can do an action on your action bar or your ship card, even with Orcs power tokens. So, that's got a lot of use, a lot of versatility. Brilliant. Delta Flyer. Now, we could put binaural circuitry on there as well, if we wanted to. It would be 5 points because it's not an Intrepid, Sovereign, or ship yet to be released class. But it would give us the ability of doing a free action to enable us to be able to do even more stuff. Definitely worth considering. Let's have a look at what else we could do. Now, the Delta Flyer. There are some shielding cards which came with the Delta Flyer. Unimatrix Shielding adds 2 to your shield value, and when defending against a Borg ship, you can disable up to 2 shields to cancel up to 2 dice. That's very thematic for the Delta Flyer, and it is what the Delta Flyer had on board. It also had things like immersion shielding and lots and bits and pieces like that to keep it going. So, in terms of other tech upgrades, we could go with, this is where it's going to take longer, because we're going to go through all the different things. Metaphasic Sweep is a nice one to give it a free scan action once per game, even against a cloaked ship. Not bad, because it could allow us to trigger that even as a free action. It's only a point. Weaponry. Now, There is something here which of course we'll have to say. There is weaponry on board Voyager. We've got the 360. However, there is the photonic cannon, which you may remember is from an episode of Voyager where the Doctor manages to persuade the hierarchy that he is arming the photonic cannon, which can destroy Borg ships in a single hit. So you have to have a target lock. Spend the ship's target lock, remove the card from play. So not discard, remove from play, so it's gone permanently. Range 3 only, and 10 dice. But you also have to take 2 damage to your hull. So you physically can't fire this from the Delta Flyer. Well, you can, but it would kill you. But you could do Voyagers. We could do a photonic cannon. There's also the translated torpedoes. Now, these are the original ones, which are basically normal torpedoes, only they are 10 dice. The normal photon torpedo, otherwise, spend the target lock, discard the card, perform the attack, forward and rear firing arc, only for U.S.S Voyager. But 10 dice, but 10 points. There is a new version of those, which are almost so overpowered it's ridiculous. So, I will zoom in on this because this is a card that's worth having a bit of a look at. Just here. So, translated torpedoes, 1 per ship, forward and rear firing arc. Attack dice, star. The attack value is the defending ship's printed hull plus 1. So against Voyager you're rolling 5 dice. Against the Sovereign you're rolling 6. Against the Scimitar you're rolling 8. Against the oversized Borg cube you're rolling 11. Attack, discard and target an opposing ship. You notice no target lock requirement, no battle stations, no nothing. You get to re-roll blanks up to your prime weapon value, so 4 in this case, and uncancelled crits ignore the ship's shields. This is broken. This is amazingly powerful. So much so, actually, in the Fremont Reformation events we do, we have actually done a slight modification, turned this into a 1 per fleet, not 1 per ship. And still, almost every single fleet in the game brings it. So, could do translated torpedoes. They are very, very powerful, and basically it's a way of going, oh, did you bring a big ship? It's gone. Just terrifying. There are things you could do. I mean, I quite like the photonic cannon. It's a bit silly. It's only range 3, but it's a 10 dice attack. But if you want 10 dice attack, you pick the translated torpedoes off the original, because that's also 10 dice and gives you range 2 to 3. So, I think, because it's me, I'm going to throw translated torpedoes on board. Yes, people are going to go using the new ones, but this is 10 dice. So this is the turn. The turn you're going to go, right, and boom, I've gone for my full suite. Target lock, you know, disabled for 3 battle stations, free action scan, disabled for scans. You've got 2 scan, or maybe even 3 scans with Janeway. You've done a green maneuver. You've cleared your Orcs power token. You action target lock, and you've got a target lock, battle stations, and 3 scan tokens on a 10 dice shot. Amazing. So I think we'll go there. Now, weaponry for the flyer. There is some cards. There is some photonic missiles, or missiles, as the card is unfortunately misprinted. So these are the original ones. Are 3 dice, range 1 to 2, 3 time tokens and a target lock. If it hits, you also do an Orcs power token, and you forward and rear firing arc. They're certainly nice, and they can go in anything. These ones are Delta Flyer locked. They are 4 dice and only 2 time tokens with no target lock. When you declare the target, you destroy a shield on their ship. Just instantly destroy a shield just for pulling the trigger. And then in the deal damage step, if they have no shields left, they get an Orcs power token in addition. They're really nice. I do very much like those. What we're also going to go is a dorsal phaser array, because that gives us 360 fire, and it's 3 dice, same as the Delta Flyer, so it gives us our prime weapon 360 at range 1 to 2. but also because we're able to sensor echo and do cool maneuvers with Tom Paris, we're going to be all over the place. So having 360 firing ability is going to enable us to have a shot almost whenever we want. Now, there's one thing left. Talent slot. There's a few we could do with Voyager. To boldly go, explore strange new worlds would both be appropriate. However, Tactical Superiority Commander. This is one which Janeway uses against Rudolph Ransom in the Equinox. So when attacking, if there are no friendly ships at range 1 to 2 that have a equal to or higher weapon value than you get a bonus dice. So with the Delta Flyer, its weapon value is 3. Voyager is 4. So now, this is a 5 dice ship. Every time it fires, it's a 5 dice ship. With that, 5 dice primary, 5 dice 360 with ability, 11 dice with transphasics. It's 2 points for a bonus status every time you attack. Perfect. Now there is actually a construction upgrade which we could use for Voyager. The Ablative Generator. This used to be a tech upgrade. It's now a construction upgrade. So this is the one that came with Voyager for the FN game. So this can only be equipped to a unique or mirror unique ship, and the cost is your hull value plus 2. This will cost us 6 points. We have to have a hull value of 4 and shields of 3. So the smallest that can go on to is a Constitution class. Yes. In the combat phase, we disbale our remaining shields and remove any cloak tokens from beside our ship. So, start the combat phase, disable all of your shields, and decloak if you were cloaked. You can't fire primary weapon this round. However, you may cancel or reduce damage dealt to you by up to 5 this game round. For each point of damage reduced this way, put a token on this card. When there's 5 tokens on it, discard the card. So basically it gives you 5 additional points of 5 evade points. Basically you turn your shields off and it gives you 5 evade points. You still get to roll defense dice, so obviously there's a chance you're going to be able to avoid more and more and more, and you can keep doing this even when you've got no shields because it is disable remaining shields. So this even works on a ship with no shields left. However, obviously the amount of tokens on the card stays across the turn. So if you take 1 on turn 1, 2 on turn 2, turn 3, you've only got 2 points left to spend, as it were. But it's a really nice ability. It's got some potential. And of course Voyager, it means it couldn't fire its primary weapon 360, but it could fire the transphasics because it only locks you out from primary weapon. So we're going to bring the Ablative Generator. It's Voyager. So here is the Voyager and Delta Flyer build. So going through them again, we've got Voyager with 365, we've got Catherine Janeway for double action bar actions, we have Neelix for bonus tokens, we have a Ablative Generator for some additional defense, TAC Commander for some bonus attack dice, Bioneural Circuitry for more actions, Transphasics for the yeah you die now shot, Chakotay for a bit of anti-captain ganking, 7 of 9, Tal Celeste and Tuvok for all just free token placement, and Harry to keep everything ticking over with all the scan tokens we're getting. Split up by the Delta Flyer with Tom Paris, extra maneuvers, free action target locks, as well as ability to do action evade or action target lock to do even more maneuvers with the sensor echo. Bioneural Circuitry again to give us free actions, Unimatrix Shielding for some bonus shields and anti-Borg protection, Photonic Missiles to hand out some nice damage, and Kess for some possible bonus tokens or even just peeking at the ship's manoeuvre. Even if you don't trigger one of the abilities, you can still look at the manoeuvre dial and go, right, where are they going? Oh, right, they're going there, fair enough. So, that's my Voyager. Obviously, as I say every time, this is not the only build. There are many, many different builds. You could use different Voyagers, different versions of these crew. The modern version of 7 to go double scan or scan evade. All of them are valid. As I say, there is no such thing as a bad card. There are situational cards. So, we can certainly move on from there. This is, as I said, the end of the Heroes of the Federation, the last of the in-universe hero ships that are in existence. Obviously, in future packs, if more are brought out, such as the U.S.S Discovery, the Strange New Worlds Enterprise Constitution class, the Cerritos, anything like that, then obviously I will continue doing these. If you have any other, Federation ship that, or if you'd like to see the heroes of the Federation, me do some of their allies ships. So, for example, the Rotaran and the Martok, or anything like that, then drop me a comment. Put a comment down. I'll read it and we'll see what we can do. The rest of the channels will continue on as normal. As a quick note, for our American viewers, this video is going out on the 4th of July, so happy Independence Day, and also happy birthday to myself. So, as I said, also, for the rest of the month of July, the uploads may be a little bit slower than normal. Heatwave over here in the United Kingdom, plus also I'm going to be starting a new job very, very shortly, and so I'll be quite tired for a little while, but I will still maintain at least one, probably 2 updates a week rather than the 3 I've been doing at the moment. Thank you very much for joining me. As always, if you like the video, please like the video. If you want to comment, you can comment. If you want to subscribe and you haven't already, then please do subscribe. It just lets me know that I'm doing stuff that people want to see. It's all it means to me in the end of the day. It just means that I'm doing content that other people are going, okay, that's worth a listen to. That's worth 25, 35, 45 minutes of my time. And that's all I ask. So, thank you very much, and we'll see you next time.